Joining us now is Representative Laura Friedman, a Democrat from California's 30th District, which includes Burbank, Glendale, and West Hollywood, major hubs, of course, for the film industry. Congresswoman, it's great to have you here. So have you guys figured out yet exactly how this tax or tariff would work if it's implemented?
No one knows how this tariff would work. It's unprecedented to put a tariff on a service. And if you're streaming a movie, that's basically a service. My concern here is that it's just going to make it more expensive for people to go to the movies. If we're saying that any film that is any portion shot overseas gets a 100% tariff, that means that instead of paying $14 to see a movie, you'd have to pay $28 to see a movie. I don't know how it works at all when it comes to streaming services. Do we have to now increase what you pay every month for Netflix or any other streaming service? It just is a lot of unknowns about how this would even work.
Your district has been facing a lot. Not only, of course, you had the Los Angeles wildfires. Now, my colleague Brian Sullivan was at the ports yesterday where port activity is down, and there's a lot of concerns about layoffs there. So now you have your core industry, which nobody thought would be affected by tariffs, potentially called into question. How uncertain are people feeling?
Well, look, the film industry has been struggling for many years, and I think that this administration has the same goal that a lot of us have here in Los Angeles, which is to bring this very signature American industry back on our shores and to level the playing field so that we're no longer competing in an unfair way against countries that have tax incentives. What we have done here in California and what many states have done is to offer tax incentives for productions in their states. And we would like to see a national film tax incentive. That would be a leveler. That's something that we know would actually work. And this industry provides tremendous value, almost 2.5 million jobs nationwide, about $229 billion in total wages. And it's also the way that the United States tells the world who we are. We tell our stories through film. I mean, there's a reason why people all around the world wanted to buy Levi's. It's because they saw them in American movies. So this industry is homegrown. It's a benefit to our country. It's certainly something that's necessary for fire relief right here in fire-ravaged Los Angeles. And having a national film tax credit would accomplish that. I'm in conversations now with my colleagues, and I would invite the administration to sit down with us. We would love to have a solution that works for everyone.
Well, speaking of sitting down with your colleagues, so on the budget bill, Congresswoman, if the Republicans ended up including measures that raise taxes on the wealthy, maybe even raise taxes on parts of corporate America, could you see yourself or some of your colleagues crossing the aisle and supporting the budget bill?
Look, right now, the budget bill has been negotiated not in a bipartisan way. It's Republicans talking to other Republicans. Democrats want a seat at the table. We represent at least half of this country. And we could, if we all work together, I think that we could possibly come up with something that would benefit our taxpayers, but also retain core government services, like funding for transportation and transit, like funding for health care, like Medicaid. But we need to work together. But right now, the cuts that they're proposing to gut health care delivery in this country, the cuts they've done to hospitals, to medical research, the cuts they're proposing to Head Start and programs that keep our little kids safe and educated, that's unacceptable. So let's talk about ways of supporting the American public while giving us economic relief and while bringing down costs for ordinary Americans. Yeah. That's the solution that I'm interested in talking about.
It sounds like that's a no for now. Not surprisingly. I mean, there's no one's asking, I guess, any of the Democrats to cross the aisle and support it. But I just thought it was curious to see this kind of big change in Republican openness to raising taxes. Nevertheless, you say if that budget bill were passed, there are cuts for Los Angeles infrastructure. Tell me about that. I know you guys have the Olympics coming up.
We have the Olympics coming up, and we need the support of this whole country to have an Olympics that as a nation we can be proud of. And we were counting on federal support to improve our transportation system, primarily to keep people safe and move them around in a way that doesn't cause massive amounts of congestion going to and from these sites that are in a very urban location. And we are hoping that those investments are still going to be able to happen. We hope that the federal government continues to be willing to help us with this. But right now, it's very unsure.
And the World Cup, too?
World Cup is another one we have coming. We have the World Cup coming. We have several major events coming to Los Angeles, which we're very proud of. Yeah. And we, hope that this administration sees these investments as worth making. The eyes of the world are going to be on Los Angeles when it comes to sports in the next few years.